Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. Today's stories include problems to conceive, grief, miscarriage, childhood trauma, wedding drama and favoritism between siblings. Be aware. Am I the idiot for accusing my sister of faking her pregnancy? My sister is 30 and hasn't been able to conceive for a while. She tried her hardest to have a baby but never could. Her doctor told her that she was infertile and couldn't have kids. She was devastated and I tried my best to comfort her, but she was inconsolable. One Friday evening, she video called me and showed me her positive pregnancy test. I was over the moon. I drove to her house and gave her a big hug and bought her a gift. She asked if she could have some of my son's old clothes. I bought a lot of gender-neutral clothes. I agreed and stuffed a bag full of old baby clothes. I gave her bottles, formula, shoes, socks and coats for her baby and she was very grateful. After 6 months I started to notice her bump wasn't growing. I asked her about it and she got very offended, saying that her baby was just small. I found it strange that a 6-month-old baby hasn't grown at all, but I brushed it off. I kept on noticing small things. She hadn't bought a cot or anything for a baby. She was still eating sushi and food she couldn't have. She had never been to an appointment and didn't have any ultrasounds of the baby. She told us that her baby was a girl, but didn't buy any girl clothes. I assumed she was just going to use the stuff I gave her. When 8 months came around, I sat my sister down on my couch and asked her, "Are you actually pregnant?" She sat silently but I could see the anger rush through her body. She started crying, asking how I could say such a thing to her. I continued with, "I have noticed that you don't look pregnant, and you have not bought anything for a baby." Then, she looked at me and in a teary voice replied, "I had a miscarriage." I didn't want to tell anyone until I was 9 months, and just say it was a complication. I was gobsmacked. I had just accused her of faking a pregnancy when she was grieving the death of her baby. Am I the a-hole? OP gives more info in the comments. Why on earth would it be better to wait until the baby was full term? To tell people the baby had died during birth of complications? That's so much more needlessly cruel. My sister spoke to a therapist after I forced her to, and her therapist told her that she is clearly depressed because of her being told about infertility. He said that seeing me and my brother with children made her react in a negative way. The loss of the baby made her think she wasn't a real mom. She's in treatment now. Do whatever it takes, even if it means stepping far away, to encourage her to stay in therapy until she's on an even keel. She's working with the therapist who took care of me a few years ago, and he's the best I've ever worked with. I even go to therapy with her when she's scared, only if she asks me to go. Obviously, she's opened up quite a lot and is still working on herself. I've made her go to a therapist, and she said that having a miscarriage made her feel like she isn't a real mom, and that she's jealous of me and my brother who also have children. She wants more than a niece and a nephew, so I've offered to be a surrogate for her. She needs to heal first, wait for the agreement of the therapist. Oh yes, definitely we're waiting. I said I'm not carrying any baby until she is better mentally, since I don't want the baby to suffer. I don't buy the miscarriage story at all. She would have a record of appointments and ultrasounds. You were right, she was never pregnant. Yeah, she's speaking to a therapist, and I hope that she will either admit to faking or reveal what actually happened. Trust you weren't the only one that noticed and wanted to call her out. My younger sister asked me if I had noticed that she hasn't grown, but I didn't want to say anything in case it causes problems. Wow, that last comment took me by surprise. It's one thing to hide a miscarriage, but if she faked the pregnancy completely, and intentionally, she needs help urgently. It's good that she followed your advice, and is going to therapy, and that she can identify and work on her problems. I really hope she can do it. But whatever her situation was, you weren't the idiot. Your concern about your sister's supposed pregnancy was valid. You were noticing that she didn't behave as if she were pregnant, in addition to her belly not growing, and this could be an indication that the baby could have a medical problem and your sister was refusing to deal with it. You weren't wrong to talk to her about it. But, despite understanding that your sister is going through some serious psychological problems, I still can't understand how she thought that pretending that she lost the baby at the end of the pregnancy, or during childbirth would be better than telling about the miscarriage. How would that be better? For whom? Was she benefiting from this lie? And what about her partner? What does he have to say about this? Did he just agree to play along with this delusional story? This is so weird. And now you think she was never pregnant? Oh my god. But please OP, as you said, don't accept being her surrogate until she is better, and with the therapist's approval, so she can take care of this child. But whatever the truth was about the pregnancy, you weren't the idiot OP. And what did you guys think of this situation? What would you do if you were OP? What would you do if you were OP's sister? Or if you were in the middle of this situation? What would you do? Now let's see what the comments say. Not the idiot, it's your sister, not a casual acquaintance or a stranger. Of course you're going to ask her something after a few months go by. Is there a husband/partner? I would talk to them discreetly. Your sister is either in terrible grief over the miscarriage, or there was never a baby and she made up the whole thing, or maybe they tried to go the surrogate or adoption route, and something didn't work. She probably should speak to a counselor. No idiots here. You didn't mock her or accuse her of faking it, you asked a legitimate question. Either she had faked it, miscarried, or was going through some incredibly tough mental stuff, after being told she could never conceive. She is almost the idiot for dragging it out so long, but grief does weird things to people, so absolutely excuses her behavior. My condolences to her, and I hope you are giving her the support she needs. No idiots here. You're only not the idiot because you didn't mention it at 6 months with the reason her bump is small. When I was 37 weeks you could only tell I was pregnant if you really looked, but with the other points you mentioned, I don't blame you for being suspicious. But you didn't know what she was coping with. You're not the idiot for asking when you didn't know what had happened. Your sister isn't an idiot either for coping with her loss, in what was probably the only way she could. My heart breaks for her. No idiots here, I'm sorry but I honestly think the miscarriage is part of the faking, because what else can she say at that point? I'm not saying she is the idiot because she clearly needs help, further help than the one you can provide, OP. I'm so sorry for her. Not the idiot. Your question was genuine, and she's your sister. She clearly needs therapy, and having a miscarriage is hard, but misleading people is not okay. You gave her a lot of things, bought her a gift, cared for her, and I assume other members of your family have too. Lying during several months to people who care for you is not okay, and it can even be toxic for her, because as she continues to lie about her pregnancy, she cannot grieve her loss properly and seeks the therapy she clearly needs, or even help from her family. And what about you guys? Do you agree with the comments? Would you advise OP anything else? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Oh, and are you enjoying the video so far? If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. This really helps the channel, so I appreciate it. Now let's go to the next story. Am I the idiot for refusing to go to my sister's wedding, knowing that it means most of our family won't attend? I, 40, female, am significantly older than my sister, 25 female. As such, after she was born, I was repeatedly looked over and parentified by my parents in favor of her. Examples of this include giving my old clothes and toys to her, without my permission, rather than preserving them as a keepsake of my childhood. In short, my inner child has had to do a lot of healing over the years. I am low contact with my parents and sister, but apparently she is engaged and wants me to be a part of the wedding party. Now, I am not comfortable around children of any age. It is part of my trauma. Being around them for me comes with a sense of responsibility that reminds me of the neglect I suffered at the hands of my family. My sister knows this, so I assumed with her asking me to be in the wedding that the wedding would be child-free. During a discussion, she mentioned her fiancé's best friend's daughter would be serving as flower girl and our cousin's son would be ring bearer. I reminded her that I would not be comfortable around children, and expressed my disappointment that she would invite me to be in a wedding that is not child-free. She looked sad for a second, and told me that there were many young children and families that are close to her and her fiancé, and the day would feel incomplete without them, and if I really wasn't comfortable around children to that extent, she would understand if I am unable to attend. I was shocked that she would uninvite me in favor of random kids, and it reminded me of being thrown aside in favor of her when we were young, so I left to collect myself. I attempted to ask my parents to talk some sense into her, but, surprise, surprise, they took her side. At this point, I was deeply hurt and needed an outlet, so I did something that might make me the idiot. I am friends with some other family members on Facebook, and I made a post about how my sister was kicking me out of the wedding and that my parents were taking her side, all because of the trauma that they contributed to themselves. I didn't go into detail because I didn't think it was anyone else's business, I just wanted to vent. Now, people are apparently refusing to go to my sister's wedding unless I am reinstated as part of the wedding. She and my parents are begging me to come, but still refusing to budge on the children being there, so it doesn't make much of a difference to me. I do feel bad because I didn't know that our family would refuse to come, but I cannot go to an event that has that many children running around or retract my statement because I don't want the family to think I lied. Am I the idiot for refusing to go? Edit, for those of you suggesting therapy, I am in therapy. My therapist is incredible and helped me realize how heavily my past has affected me. I have yet to discuss the Facebook post with her, but we'll see what she has to say. OP also tell us. Info, what other examples do you have of being parentified? Several that I was not able to share due to the word count. I attended a community college and lived at my parents' house during that time, and there were repeated instances of me having to pick up my sister from school or activities on my way back, with no regard to the fact that I may have work to do at home or want to relax. I was once left alone with my sister for 2 days and 1 night after my grandfather died and my parents had to leave the state. I wanted to be with my grandmother and family too, but my sister, who was 9 at the time and easily could have stayed with a friend or something, obviously just had to come first. I moved out of my parents' home at 26, and for the whole 11 years I lived with her, I was expected to help around the house with common tasks like dishes or vacuuming, whereas she was only responsible for her room and cleaning up after herself. I could go on. Oh my god, let's make this easy for you, yes, you are the idiot. Plain and simple. I'm not going to pretend I know what defines someone's trauma, everyone has their own issues and that can be triggered by various reasons, but the ones you're giving us to justify your trauma are interesting, so to speak. Look, it's possible that there was, and maybe still is, a favoritism towards your sister, maybe because she's, quote, the baby of the family, and maybe you felt growing up that while she was coddled by your parents, you were picked as the responsible one and expected to help take care of the house and your sister. Sometimes this is unintentional, sometimes this just happens with older siblings, they're expected to take care of the younger ones. Also, you and your sister have a 15-year age gap, and since you don't mention any other siblings, I'm guessing she's the only one, and I'm guessing that when she was born you felt like you were being ignored by your parents? Which it can't have been easy for a teenager, especially when you were used to being an only child. I understand. And I'm glad to hear that you're already in therapy to work on any issues you have related to your childhood or not, but have you talked to your parents about this? Have you really talked to them about how you felt back then? Have you ever complained to them about how unfair you thought their behavior was between you and your sister? Do they even know how you felt back then and still feel now? If not, you should seriously talk to them about it. But back to the situation with your sister's wedding, you're being a jerk. You're being vindictive because your sister doesn't want to have her wedding according to your rules. And what do you mean you don't want the rest of your family to think you lied? You did lied. And don't pretend it was an accident, because it wasn't, you intentionally left out the reason why you won't go to the wedding. Besides that, you are lying that your sister kicked you out of the wedding, which is not what happened and you know it. My advice to you is to go to the wedding and come clean to your family, and even if you don't go, explain things as they are, because the moment they start to find out the real reason for this whole situation, things aren't going to look too good for you. And what did you guys think of all this? Do you agree with OP's decision? Do you think she was right to ask her sister that? And what about what she told the rest of her family? Would you have done something like that? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. You are the idiot. You were 15 when she was born, and mad she wore your baby clothes and got to play with your toys without your permission. So if she was never born, you would have all your old clothes and toys displayed throughout your house? You need to grow up. Sounds like your trauma is kids. Any kids get more attention than you. Won't go to your sister's wedding cause there will be kids there. Good grief. Upset your stuff isn't preserved as a keepsake of your childhood. Get over yourself. You are the idiot. You are 40 years old. You need a better therapist because it appears yours has not helped you at all. You have had decades to come to terms with your childhood. Also, you're traumatized by hand-me-downs? Really? The entitlement you're displaying by being upset that your sister invited you to her wedding that wasn't child-free is absolutely astounding. I truly don't know how you get through the day. You are the idiot. I'm glad you're in therapy. I hope you work on living in a way where the entire world doesn't revolve around your issues. You say you don't have much of a relationship with your sister, but are shocked that she would invite, quote, random kids over you, when those kids are the children of her close friends and community? They're not random. You don't have much of a relationship with her, but assumed the entire wedding would be child-free because you can't be around children? You decided to vague book an accusation about being kicked out of the wedding, without explaining that you were excluded, because you refused to be around children? Of course you're the a-hole. You are the idiot. Not your wedding, you're not the main character. You objected to the wedding and gave a choice you, or all those other guests. Your sister chose everyone else over one low-contact family member, so you've now manipulated the story and trashed her wedding all because it wasn't about you. Main character syndrome much? Ouch. So, do you agree with the comments? What else would you advise OP to do? Please, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.